Hello there, hello there you guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video tonight there is lots to negotiate about. So let's delve straight into it. So I am going to be giving you an update on some of Arsenal's transfer news, and then a bit later on in the video I'm going to be giving you an update on some of Liverpool's transfer news and that. So there's lots of topics to delve into. So anyway, let's start with some of Arsenal's transfer news. So I'm going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Willian, and then after that I'm going to be giving you some news on Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. So the news is now on Willian. According to the mainstream media today, Arsenal are leading the race for Willian. Now this is actually no totally contrast, to what was coming out of the mainstream media yesterday, because it was coming out yesterday saying that Liverpool were emerged, as the favourites to sign Willian, and it allegedly said that Willian's transfer to Liverpool is nearly done. So reportedly now Arsenal are leading the race for Willian. They are expected to get him on a free transfer because Willian's current contract at Chelsea does expire on the 30th of June and that. And obviously, Arsenal did get David Luiz from Chelsea last summer for around £8 million. So that could be, maybe one of the reasons, why he could end up, going to Arsenal, Willian. So if Arsenal do get Willian, he will reunite with David Luiz. Now, Willian, of course, has been a long-serving player for Chelsea. He's now into his 7th season with them. I think in the Premier League, Willian has made around 226 appearances and scored around 33 goals, and he is the age of 31. Chelsea did pay around £30 million for him back in 2013 from Anzai Makhachkala, something like that, if I've pronounced it correctly. But Willian is actually a very, very good player. He's fast, he's agile, his work rate's very, very good, and he's also very, very good at creating chances. Is Willian. He can play as an attacking midfielder, and he can also play as a winner. I think Chelsea have given their verdict on it, and Chelsea are actually keen on keeping Willian. Chelsea are reportedly willing to offer him a 12-month contract extension, but reportedly, Willian wants a longer contract extension if he is to remain loyal to Chelsea. So that's what's been coming out of the mainstream media today. Arsenal are leading the race for Willian. That's the latest news on that. I think also too, Newcastle have expressed their interest in Willian. Newcastle have got, quite a few big names on their agenda because obviously, now the Saudi Arabians have taken over Newcastle. Don't forget, they paid around £300 million to take over Newcastle because obviously, their owner before was Mike Ashley, and he enjoyed around, 12 or 13 years with Newcastle and did receive a hell of a lot of criticism. But Newcastle now are the richest club in the Premier League because they have got the richest owners. And I think the Saudi Arabians are worth around, 260 billion? Some reports are contrast, and some reports have said that they're worth over £300 billion are these owners and that. Obviously, like he updated you, was it the other week? It said, Newcastle are interested in getting Pochettino in to replace Steve Bruce and that. So maybe Arsenal, could get Willian on a free transfer, but I definitely, do expect him to leave Chelsea. And I think Chelsea have come to accept the fact that Willian is going to leave. So Chelsea obviously, have got a few players on their agenda who could replace him in that. So that's the latest news on that, on Willian. Now, going to give you the news on Thomas Partey. So I'm actually going to reiterate some of the stuff I mentioned, was it last week, when I give you the breaking news on Thomas Partey. So I've been reading reports regarding Thomas Partey today, and it does say that Arsenal will only sign Thomas Partey on one condition, and that's if they can get qualification for the Champions League for next season. And actually, I was reading the Daily Express today, and it actually said that Thomas Partey wants to remain loyal to Atletico Madrid because Thomas Partey has spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. I think he's made over 150 appearances for them in all competitions as Thomas Partey. Now, don't forget, his father came out last week and actually, advised Thomas Partey to leave Atletico Madrid. And he did actually reveal that Arsenal have been in talks with Atletico Madrid, for quite some time. But actually, Thomas Partey's agent, last week denied any negotiations with Arsenal. Also, to the player himself, he denied, rumours of a move to Arsenal, so there you go. But, Arsenal have, expressed a strong interest in the player. Thomas Partey, of course, is a holding midfielder. Now, Thomas Partey does have around a £47 million release clause. I think it's around a £47 million release clause. Well, it's in the £40 million range in his contract with Atletico Madrid. And Thomas Partey has got a contract with Atletico Madrid until 2023. If Atletico Madrid can get him a new contract, though, his release clause will rise up to around £93 million. And Thomas Partey is like 25 or 26 years of age, so he is in his mid-20s. But I think Atletico Madrid, will want to do everything they can to try and convince, Thomas Partey to remain loyal to them. Because the main explanation, that Atletico Madrid have lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. Don't forget last year they lost Rodri to Man City. They also, lost Griezmann last summer after he endured, was it around 5 years or something with Atletico Madrid. They also too lost Diego Gordon. He was a very, very long-serving player for them. But there again, Atletico Madrid recruited quite a few players in recent years. Obviously, they got Joe Felix for £113 million. He's the fourth most expensive player in the world. I think they got him last summer, or was it in January, if I can remember rightly. They also got Diego Costa Navarro Morata in recent years. I can't remember if it was last summer, I can't remember, but I know they got him in recent years. Also, too, they got Thomas Lemar in, Kieran Trippier. So, yeah, Atletico Madrid have recruited quite a few players in. Also, Saul Niguez has been linked to a move away from Atletico Madrid. But Arsenal, do want to get the player on the board, definitely in that. And obviously, Arsenal have had quite a few other players on their agenda. So let's just put that into the equation, because Arsenal, are really, really struggled throughout the course of this season. They are sitting 9th in the Premier League. So I think they're like, 8 points behind Chelsea. Don't forget, they're no longer in the Europa League because of, I think they got knocked out by Olympiacos, if I'm right. So I can't see Arsenal, getting qualification for the Champions League for next season, to be quite honest with you. But of course, Arsenal do want to make signings when the summer transfer market does reopen. Of course, they have got Mikel Arteta in. He's Arsenal's third manager this season, is Mikel Arteta. So it is a transition period for Arsenal, basically, because before they had Arteta, they had Freddie Ljungberg. And before they had Freddie Ljungberg, they had, Unai Emery. And he endured 18 months with Arsenal, did Unai Emery and that. But yeah, so Mikel Arteta, has made a couple of signings for Arsenal. Obviously, he recommended them in back in the January transfer window. Of course, don't forget Arsenal got Pablo Mari from Flamengo. They did get him on loan, by the way. I think Arsenal have got the option to make the deal permanent, but I don't think he's enjoyed a good start to his Arsenal career, what I heard. They also got Cedric Soares back in the January transfer window. They also got him on loan. And I think he's predominantly right back, Cedric Soares. But Arteta has not yet, made a permanent signing for Arsenal and that. But it'd be interesting to see, from an Arsenal perspective, how Arteta, approaches, the summer transfer market. But I've got to say, before all the football season got suspended, I thought Arsenal did look a better team, to be quite fair. I think, they have improved under Mikel Arteta's guidance. I'm still sceptical that Arteta is the foreseeable future for Arsenal because, he's really inexperienced as a manager. Obviously, before Mikel Arteta was at Arsenal, he was at Man City. He endured 3 years as a coaching assistant with Manchester City. But obviously, he was alongside one of the, best managers in the world and that. So you can say he's probably got a few tips off Pep Guardiola as Mikel Arteta. He was definitely a good player for Arsenal. Of course, didn't he enjoy around 5 or 6 years as a player for Arsenal, Mikel Arteta? And I think when Arsenal did appoint him in earlier on this year, he signed, was it like a 3.5-year deal, did Mikel Arteta? But there you go. But they do look a much better team under him. Of course, Arsenal are the most successful team in FA Cup history. Of course, Arsenal have won 13 FA Cups. But obviously, Arsenal did recruit quite a few players in last summer. Obviously, this was under the Unai Emery era. Obviously, they got Kieran Tierney in for what was it, £25 million. I think that's what they paid for him. Obviously, he's had quite a few injuries as Kieran Tierney. Quite injury prone from my own perception. Like I said, they got David Luiz in last summer for £8 million. Wasn't their first choice, but, Arsenal just saw it as that it was a cheap solution. Yeah, William Saliba's also going to be coming in for them when the summer transfer market does reopen. They did get him from St Etienne, but don't forget he got loaned back to St Etienne for the remainder of the season. So he's another centre-half that's coming in for them. Also, too, they got Dani Ceballos on loan, but I'm very, very sceptical that Arsenal are going to get Dani Ceballos on a permanent transfer. I think it did say it cost Arsenal around £40 million to get him on a permanent transfer. Also, too, they got Nicolas Pepe last summer for around £70 million, and he's Arsenal's most expensive signing is Nicolas Pepe. So, yeah, so taking into account, Arteta is still in the process of rebuilding Arsenal's team because put into the equation, he's inheriting, the players that Emre brought in last summer. He's also still inheriting some players that are still here from the Arsene Wenger era, because I think a lot of the players have gone, from the Arsene Wenger era, but, there's still a couple of players here from the Wenger era. And obviously, Arsene Wenger endured 22 years with Arsenal, was a very, very long-serving manager, but like I mentioned before, I think Wenger endured a good 12, 13 years out of the 22 years he was at Arsenal. But, he did leave a lot of deadwood behind, did Arsene Wenger and that. But Arsenal, do want to get back to dominating football again, like they did do in the early days under the Arsene Wenger era. Of course, Arsenal are the only team to go undefeated in the Premier League era. They did that back in 2004, which was around 16 years ago now. Obviously, Stan Kroenke, who was Arsenal's owner, he's been criticised a lot as well. Obviously, the way their football club's been run for several years. But, basically, Arsenal need to buy into their club more. They need to stop being a selling club because, Arsenal do sell a lot of their good players, as you have seen in recent years. Of course, prime example, they let Alexis Sanchez go back in January 2018, and Sanchez enjoyed a good 3.5, 4 years with Arsenal. They shouldn't have let Sanchez go. I think they did pay around, was it £32 million in from Barcelona at the time, did Arsenal. Don't forget, they let Aaron Ramsey go in the summer of 2019, which was last summer. After he enjoyed 11 years at Arsenal, Aaron Ramsey. And he was a very, very good player for them. And they also let him go on a free transfer as well, so they didn't, get any money for his departure. They also let Nasri go, they let Jack Wilshere go. I think, he was also another long-serving player for Arsenal. They let Jack Wilshere go. They let Giroud go. He also joined Chelsea. So Arsenal, have let quite a few of their imperative players go in recent years. I think, Danny Welbeck, didn't he leave last summer? Steven Lichtsteiner left them, and also too Laurent Koscielny left Arsenal. So yeah, they need to stop being a selling club as much to Arsenal. Now, I give you the news, didn't I, regarding Aubameyang recently, didn't I? He's expected to leave Arsenal when the transfer market does reopen, because like I updated you yesterday, Arsenal have pulled the plug on contract talks with Aubameyang. Arsenal have now come to accept the fact that Aubameyang does want to leave. They've come to accept the fact, and I think it's been a long process. Arsenal have tried, to convince him to sign a new contract. I think on Aubameyang's current contract, he's on around £200,000 a week, so I think he's actually, one of Arsenal's highest paid players. But Arsenal, would want to cash in for him, this summer, rather than letting go on a free transfer in the summer of 2021. Like I said to you, there has been a few clubs that have been interested in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Like I mentioned, Chelsea have been in for him. Also, to my club, Man United, have been in for him. It recently said that Inter Milan had expressed an interest in Aubameyang. I think Inter Milan are looking to get rid of Mario Icardi on a permanent transfer because he's on loan at PSG at the moment. I think Inter Milan have said they want around £60 million to get rid of Icardi on a permanent transfer. Lautaro Martinez has been linked to a move away from Inter Milan. Barcelona have been in for him. But if they can get, if Icardi was to go on a permanent transfer, then they'd use that money to get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Real Madrid and Barcelona have also been in for him. But Arsenal do want to recoup the £56 million that they did pay for him from Borussia Dortmund back in January 2018. And, Aubameyang has been at Arsenal now over 2 years. Has scored 49 goals in 75 Premier League appearances for them. And he's got 61 goals in all competitions. Aubameyang is the age of 30, or is he 31? Predominantly plays centrally, but you can also put Aubameyang out wide. And Aubameyang's not only expected to leave Arsenal in the summer. There's also been rumours of Lacazette leaving. There's also been rumours of Mesut Ozil leaving. Mesut Ozil's also been another long-serving player for Arsenal. So let's just put that into the equation. I think Arsenal have also got a very, very good youth setup, to be fair. I do rate that Saka a lot. I think, Reece Nelson's also very, very good for Arsenal. Reece Nelson, that Edward Nketiah, he doesn't seem so bad either. So they have got, quite a lot of good young players in their squad of Arsenal and that. But yeah, so that's the latest on some of Arsenal's transfer news. So there you go. Now, let's delve into some of Liverpool's transfer news. Now, I have been keeping you up to date of what's been going on with their transfer news on a regular basis. So I am now going to be giving you some news on Dries Mertens from Napoli. Then after that, I'm going to be giving you some news on Timo Werner. So the news is on Dries Mertens, according to reports from the mainstream media today. They've basically come out and said that Liverpool have expressed their interest in Dries Mertens. He's also on Newcastle's agenda, and Chelsea have been relentlessly linked with the player. I think Frank Lampard has held negotiations with Dries Mertens over the possible transfer to Chelsea. But it does reportedly say that Liverpool have offered or are willing to offer Dries Mertens a 3-year contract. So that would take him under contract until 2023. Because obviously Dries Mertens' current contract at Napoli does expire in June. Now, Dries Mertens has been a long-serving player for Napoli. This is now his 7th season with them. Napoli, I think, did pay, was it around 9.5 million euros for him from PSV back in 2013. Now, Dries Mertens, I think, in the Serie A has made around 200 odd appearances. And I think he scored around 90 goals, but he does have over 100 goals in all competitions. Now, Dries Mertens, I think, predominantly plays on the wing, but he can also play him centrally, so versatility very, very good. And he's the age of 32, so if he were to go to Liverpool and he were to sign that 3-year contract, that would take him until the age of 35, Dries Mertens. But yeah, very, very good prolific goal scorer. I think he's supposed to be very, very effective in the air. His hold-up play is very, very good. But if Dries Mertens was to go to Liverpool, Liverpool would use him as a squad player, definitely in that. Yeah, and also, reflecting on his age, as like I just said, he is 32 years of age. I think, when Napoli did sign him, it was Rafael Benitez's, was it, first signing, if I'm right, if I can remember rightly. But, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, it does mention, that Liverpool have expressed an interest in Dries Mertens. It doesn't actually, say a fee. Maybe it would cost in the 40 odd or 50 odd million pound range. But yeah, it says that Liverpool are in for Dries Mertens. Now, let's give you the news on Timo Werner. Now, Liverpool have stepped their interest up in Timo Werner. Now, I've been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Timo Werner on a regular basis. Now, as you all know, Timo Werner's already made the admission and he's basically, said he's open to making a move to Liverpool. Of course, if Timo Werner does make a move to Liverpool, then, he will be reuniting with Naby Keita. Because obviously, don't forget, Liverpool, got Naby Keita from RP Leipzig. And I think Naby Keita's give his verdict on this and, he wants Timo Werner to join Liverpool. I think also too Sadio Mane's advised, Timo Werner to join Liverpool and that. And I think it did say from the media today that he has responded. He's responded to the dressing room. He's responded to the dressing room view as Timo Werner. So that's fueled quite a lot of speculation up. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, Liverpool have lodged any kind of bidding for the player yet. Liverpool do know how much Timo Werner is going to cost. He's going to cost obviously around £52 million because that's his release clause in his contract with RP Leipzig. Now, Timo Werner's got around 3 years remaining on his contract with Leipzig. He's under contract with them until 2023. Now, Liverpool have been relentlessly linked with him, and, back in February, this was stemming from Sky in Germany. Timo Werner was talking a lot about Liverpool then. He actually, described Jurgen Klopp as one of the best managers in the world. So I think, Timo Werner basically wants to play under his guidance. But the RP Lesbig sporting director, he came out not too long ago. I think it was last week, like he updated you, or was it yesterday? And he actually, said that there's been no approach from any club for Werner. Timo Werner hasn't contacted us and stuff like that. But I think he'll only leave RP Lesbig if, he can get a move to Liverpool. That's what I think anyway. But Werner, is a very, very good player. He's now into his 4th season with RP Lesbig. He scored 72 goals, is it? Something like that in 118 Bundesliga appearances. That's in the Bundesliga. I think in all competitions he's got like 88 goals in 150 appearances. That is very, very impressive. So Timo Werner is a prolific goal scorer. RP Lesbig did pay around 10 million euros for him from Stuttgart back in 2016. But, Timo Werner was also very, very good at Stuttgart. He became the youngest player to ever represent them. Then later on became their youngest goal scorer ever, and became the youngest player to reach 50, 100, 150 and 200 Bundesliga appearances, and is only the age of 23 or 24. Another beneficial thing from a Liverpool perspective is that he can play in more than one position, Timo Werner. If Liverpool can't get rid of, Salah, Firmino or Mane, then you could maybe say Werner, it'd have to be a backup. But there again, Timo Werner is too good to be a backup. So I think for Liverpool to get Werner, they'd have to sell, Salah, Firmino or Mane, to be quite honest with you. But it remains unknown if they're going to sell one of that front three when the summer transfer market does reopen, and that it remains unknown. And, the same sort of thing with Kylian Mbappe, innit? Same sort of thing with him. Like I updated you about Mbappe yesterday. It's also reiterated it again in the media today, explaining, that Jurgen Klopp has contacted Kylian Mbappe's father over possibly, Mbappe, making a transfer to Liverpool. I'm very, very sceptical it will happen, to be quite honest with you, because PSG have basically, said they want around £250 million, which is a world record fee. And PSG, do remain ruthless over their valuation. They do remain ruthless over their valuation. They want £250 million. And as it stands at the moment, Kylian Mbappe is the second most expensive player in the world. PSG did get him on loan, and obviously, they got him permanently. And I think they paid around £166 million in transfer fees. PSG, by the way, have said, they've got no intentions of selling him to Real Madrid, Kylian Mbappe, because Real Madrid have been in for him. They said they'd rather let him go on a free transfer in 2022 when his current contract expires than let him go to Real Madrid. But, I'm just very, very sceptical that Liverpool will pay in the £200 million range for one player. Very, very sceptical about it indeed. But Mbappe is only 21 and he's regarded as one of the best, players in the world. He's Mbappe. And I think, if he did come to the Premier League, he'd live up to expectations and that. He'd do very, very well. But I just don't see him going to Liverpool because Timo Werner is a much cheaper solution, than Kylian Mbappe. But yeah, Liverpool have to sell one of their front three, if, they wanted to, get Kylian Mbappe in and that. But there you go. But, Liverpool, are going to want to make quite a few signings when the transfer market reopens. Like I said, a lot of teams are under financial difficulty, due to this coronavirus pandemic and stuff like that. So a lot of clubs' summer transfer budgets will be reduced anyway. Liverpool did sign one player back in the January transfer window, that was Takumi Minamino. They paid, was it 7.25 million for him from Red Bull Salzburg. You can say he's a backup, he plays like in the cup games, but maybe going on into next season, Takumi Minamino could get more opportunities in that. I think the players, that Liverpool are going to get rid of when the summer transfer market does reopen. I expect him to get rid of Nathaniel Klein, definitely. Very, very injury prone, doesn't even get in the team anyway. He's basically a backup to Trent Alexander-Arnold, is Nathaniel Klein. I think they'll definitely get rid of Dejan Lovren. You know, probably one of their worst players is Dejan Lovren. Very, very inconsistent is Dejan Lovren, so I think they'll move him on. I think, you know, they'll also get rid of Adam Lallana. I think he's expected to leave on a free transfer when his contract does expire. Adam Lallana hasn't been a bad player for Liverpool, but isn't one of their first choice midfielders. I think they'll get rid of Origi. Or they could get rid of Dickov Origi, you know, could Liverpool. Again, doesn't get in the team, very, very good backup. You know, but they could sell him, yeah. And I think, you know, they could also get rid of Shaqiri, could Liverpool. Because he tends to make an impact from the sub, does Shaqiri. You know, he's not really a 90-minute player. You know, so they'll get rid of around 4 or 5 players, will Liverpool, definitely in that. But, you know, Liverpool do want to continue this dominance up because, you know, they have been exceptional this season. Of course, don't forget, you know, Liverpool went on a 44-match unbeaten run. Obviously, you know, Watford were the team that ended their 44-match unbeaten run. I still believe that Liverpool are unbeaten in like 50-odd games at Anfield in the Premier League. But they've only lost 1 game in the Premier League this season. You know, Liverpool only need 2 wins to clinch their first ever Premier League title and to end their 30-year drought. But when they do win it, it will be their 19th overall. Because as it stands at the moment, they are on 18 all first divisions. And Liverpool are sitting 25 points clear of Manchester City. So let's just put that into the equation. But I've got to make an admission, like I've mentioned on my videos before. You know, Liverpool have, you know, done good business with Southampton in recent years. You know, they've recruited quite a few of their players. You know, like I said, Liverpool got Klein off them. You know, Liverpool got Virgil van Dijk off Southampton for what, £75 million. Second most expensive centre-half in the world, but he is the best centre-half in the world, is Virgil van Dijk. And obviously, you know, didn't he win the Premier League Player of the Season, Van Dijk, reflects on his good run of performances. Wasn't there a period where no player managed to dribble past him? So that just indicates how good Virgil van Dijk is. I think he's probably the foreseeable future for Liverpool, but what, you know, end his career with Liverpool. Also, too, like I said, they got Adam Lallana from Southampton. You know, they got Sadio Mane from Southampton. So there you go. So they have recruited quite a few players from Southampton. Harry Wilson, Liverpool, I think, loaned him out to Bournemouth, but I think he's another player they're going to get rid of. I think Bournemouth are going to get Harry Wilson on a permanent transfer. Yes, they are in that. So basically, you know, Liverpool have got the best centre-half in the world. They've probably got the best goalkeeper in the world now as we speak. Not overall, though, in Allinson. And of course, Liverpool paid around £67 million for Allinson from Roma. And, you know, he's done really, really well. Their backup goalkeeper is Adrian. He's a liability, you know, reflecting on his calamitous mistakes. You know, he's cost Liverpool quite a few points. You know, so there you go. And like I said, you know, Jurgen Klopp's been a long-serving manager for Liverpool. You know, he's now into his fifth season with Liverpool. Is Jurgen Klopp. I think he's managed, is it like over 250-odd games, something like that, in all competitions. To be fair, his win ratio is very, very impressive. But this is now his 5th season with Liverpool. Liverpool have spent around £460 million on players, you know, since he got recommended in. Of course, Liverpool did get Jurgen Klopp from Borussia Dortmund, and to be fair, he did quite well at Borussia Dortmund. He won a few titles with Borussia Dortmund, didn't he? Before he was at Dortmund, he was at Mainz 05. He was terrible at Mainz 05. I think he got sacked from Mainz 05 because he got Mainz 05 relegated. So this Liverpool is the 3rd club he's managing now, Jurgen Klopp. He's obviously, you know, won 3 trophies with Liverpool so far. Obviously, you know, he won the Super Cup early on the season, the FIFA Club World Cup, and he won the Champions League at the end of last season. Liverpool, you know, won 6 Champions League, so they are the most successful team at the English clubs in the Champions League, Liverpool and that. But yeah, you know, he's been a long-serving manager as Jurgen Klopp, and he has got a contract with Liverpool until 2024. He did extend it earlier on. Well, he got it extended earlier on in the season. It remains unknown if he's going to see out the remainder of his contract with them. But, you know, when Jurgen Klopp does eventually, you know, leave Liverpool, he won't get sacked, I don't think. I just think he'll eventually resign. He'll probably, you know, make a return back to Germany, you know, will Jurgen Klopp. But when they do clinch the Premier League title, it will be his 4th major honour as Liverpool manager. Like I said to you before, you know, they've lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. You know, don't forget they lost likes of Coutinho, who enjoyed 5 good years for them, but Liverpool got 142 million. They lost Suarez, you know, didn't lose Sturridge, you know, so there you go. But yeah, so that's mainly everything to update you with today, guys. And obviously, you know, you saw my 2 previous videos that I did today. Obviously, you know, I was talking about my club, Man United. Obviously, you know, we're planning to get rid of around 5 players, you know, to obviously, you know, increase our transfer budget and to fund the move for Jadon Sancho. Also to I did a video this morning as well, didn't I? You know, so I have been keeping you up to date of what's been going on as best as I can. As you all know, I confirmed on my last video that the Premier League have got a meeting, I think, this Friday to obviously, you know, establish plans for the remainder of the season. And I think it's been confirmed that the Premier League will be resuming on the 8th of June, you know. And obviously, you know, games will be played behind closed doors for public health reasons. But yeah, it's going to resume at the beginning of June. So that's very, very good news, to be quite honest with you. Very, very good news. So they are going to be finishing the season off. These are around 92 games to play in all competitions. So let's just put that into the equation. Around 92 games to play. Yes, games will be played behind closed doors. The football's been suspended since the 9th of March. So it's been suspended now for over a month. The Premier League, you know, are planning to end the season by the 31st of July. So obviously, you know, the Champions League and Europa League games can be played in August. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.